Okay guys, I think if we go fast enough in this one, we can finish it with just this video. So where we left off was the stands. Something I forgot to do is we actually need to give each one of these some sort of identifier. We're going to use indexes because that's kind of how we can easily find out what they are. We can also tie the notes to the same index, all that good stuff. So that's just very, very easy to understand, just like we did in the tutorial from last year. So I'm going to go into the stand here. We're going to add a new variable. I'm going to call this index. I'm going to set it to type integer. I'm going to make it instance editable. And before I forget, we're going to quickly go in here, and from left to right, we're going to set these guys up. So the very first one will be at index 0. The next one will be at index 1, 2, and 3. So basically what we're doing here is we're saying blue equals 0, green equals 1, purplish pink equals 2, and yellow equals 3. So instead of having to say play the purple one, we can just say play 0, play 1, play 2, play 3. Very, very simple. And numbers are a lot easier to check against than colors. Okay, so then we need to start working on our Simon, BP Simon. And I'm going to pull this guy out here into the world so we can see him. Open him up. And I'm going to cheat and use my notes here a little bit. We're going to go ahead and set this guy up in a nice order. Go ahead and set up a nice set of variables. And they'll already be ready for us and ready to go, so we can just jump right in and use them. So what I'm going to do is down here in our variables, I'm going to hit plus, and I'm going to name this one is playing. Hit plus again, is player's turn, plus again. This one will be the Simon sequence. It'll be of type integer, and I'm going to right click to make it an array. Sorry. Plus again, player sequence, also need it to be integer and array. Plus again, this one will be stands, and we're going to get this, it'll be of type stand. And remember, we have this BP stand, so again, object reference, it is going to be an array, but we're going to make this one instance editable. Okay, another one, which we're going to call level settings. And I don't remember if we made this or not, so let me check. This would be the Simon structure. We did not make it yet, so hold on. We're going to quickly go to our blueprints here, and in the blueprints folder, I'm going to right click, go down to blueprint, and we're going to make a new structure. This I'm going to call Simon level structure, or underscore struct. And here we're going to kind of set up the rules of each level, the settings of each level, I guess I should say. So for this, I want to make sure, I'm going to grab my other one of my notes to make sure I'm not missing anything when we're making this. Okay, we've got our number of notes, which is basically self-explanatory. It's going to be how many notes can we play per round or per level. The time between notes, which this will be of type float. And then we're gonna do one last one, and can duplicate notes. Basically meaning that can you play the same note twice within that level? Like, can you play yellow twice? Which basically for your early levels, like your levels 1 and 2, maybe you want that to be to where it's only unique numbers, and so it's just less that the player has to remember. And then like your more advanced levels, maybe you make it to where levels or to where notes can start repeating. So now they have to remember how many times blue went, and then it was yellow, and then it was blue 3 more times, and you get the idea. But that is going to be a type boolean. We're going to save that, close it, and then back here in our BP Simon, we're gonna click here, and this will be our Simon level struct. Grab that, it will be of type array, and we're gonna make that instance editable. Okay, and then we need, we need our current level, and that should be it. Let me verify something really quick. Ooh, am I using this somewhere? All right, so in our stand here, make sure of something. We don't have a variable for it, so we're going to add a new variable inside of the BP stand, and this will be our Simon main underscore reference, and that will be of type Simon. So our BP Simon here, object reference, and that will not be instance editable because we'll have Simon actually set that for us. So I'm gonna switch back to Simon now. I'm gonna right click, begin play, and we're going to hold F and left click to get a for each loop. And so for each of our stands, get this, and we're gonna pull off of here and say is valid. Get the one with the question mark. And if it is valid, then we're going to set Simon main reference. Move this out of the way. And, oh, sorry, pull off of this and just get a reference to ourselves. If you want, you can pull off of this and do a print string and just make this, big and yellow or something, I don't know, and have it come up on the screen for like 5 seconds. And we'll just put on here, forgot to set up stands. Feel like you might miss something, please do this. That way, if you have an issue, you can put it in the comments. Hey, it keeps printing, I forgot to set up stands. What did I do wrong? You know what I mean? That way you're all set up and ready to go. Okay. So now we're gonna worry about like what happens when we overlap the when the player overlaps. So we're gonna hit begin overlap on this. So I right clicked, I went to add event on component. Begin overlap is what I selected. And now we're gonna ask, is that the player? So what I'm gonna do for that is we're gonna do does implement interface. We're going to find out if it implements the player interface, that interface that we made before. And if it does, then we can, start setting up all the good stuff that we want to set up. Well, basically, we need to find out if we're already playing. Sorry, I'm kind of skipping ahead and I'm getting tired today, but I want to get this done. I want to get this out to you guys. So I'm going to push through it. All right. So we want to find out if we're playing. If we are playing, we don't want to restart the game at all. We want to just let it keep playing. So we need to pull off of this and get a not, and scroll up to the top, a not boolean, and pull off of this and get an and boolean. Plug this in and plug it into the condition here. So basically what we're doing here is we're saying if it does implement this interface and we are not playing, then let's play. So I'm going to grab our is playing. I'm going to hold Alt and drag it out so that we get a set. And we're going to set it to true. Then we're going to make a new custom event here and call this start level. Pull off of here, start level. And then I'm going to scroll down on my notes so I can keep up. Okay, now we're going to grab our player sequence. We are going to clear it. This is basically meaning that if we start a new level, we're not trying to add on top of the sequence that we've already played, as the player anyways. And then we're going to get our current note, which I forgot. Oh, so our current level, I just realized I messed this up. This needs to be a single. So I'm going to right click to make that a single. And we also need another one called current note. Messed that up and forgot to put that in. All right, but so we're going to grab that current note. We're going to hold Alt to bring it out and get a set. We're going to set it to 0, and we're also going to set is player's turn to false. A lot of different sets that don't make sense yet, I know, but we'll get around to it. Now we need to make a new function called create. Or no, we're not going to do a function. We're going to do this as a event. Sorry. Pull off to the side here, and let's do this kind of over here to the right, just because it's going to be a big area. So we're going to do custom event create Simon sequence. So it's going to be a lot of code, but a lot of it's going to be copy paste as well. So we'll be fine. So now we want to grab our stands. Ooh, okay. Let's pause on this part really fast. There is something I want to do to kind of help you guys out really, really quick. So just grab that stands, copy it, come over to the construction script. Let's paste it, hold F and left click to get a for each loop. Okay. And then we're going to pull off of this. We're going to do, oh, that's the wrong thing. I don't want the stands. Sorry, I am being dumb. I want to do a get on our level settings. And then I want to pull off of this. I want to do a break level structure. And then I want to get our number of notes, find out if it is greater than our length of stands. So we'll pull off, get the stands, pull off this, type in length. And length is how many stands are in this array. I'm going to select this and click hide unconnected to keep it clean. We're going to do a branch. And so if that number is greater than our number of stands, well, then we can't play it because we can only play however many notes that are equal to the stands, basically. If we can't play 5 notes if we only have 4 stands, if that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to pull our array element here and we're going to drag all the way out and we're going to say set member in Simon level struct. I'm going to come up here to our default category. And I want to set our number of notes to be equal to our length here. We're only going to do that if this number is too high. Basically, it's like a way to keep it from going too high. So it's a nice thing to kind of code in here in case you have like another designer or somebody else working with you and they're using this and they're like, oh, I want it to play 6 notes, but it can't because there's only 4 stands. You know, I just realized that this is actually wrong now that I'm thinking about it. So actually one more thing to add into this. I actually did not do this in my prototype, which I should have, but we need to also check can duplicate notes. If this is false, and it's not allowed to duplicate notes, then we want to do all this stuff over here. So what I'm going to do is just do a branch, plug this in here, and we're going to plug from the false across, not from the true. Okay. So if that's false, then we want to limit how much they can actually put in there. And so now we want to set, sorry, where is it? Oh, here we go. Get our level settings, copy paste, and we're going to set an array element here, and the item will be the struct out, and the index will be the array index from over here. Plug that in. This will just keep it from being set to the wrong number. Got both of these, press Q to line them up. There we go. And just gonna double check this, looks right to me. Okay, this is nice for like if you have somebody else you're working on a project with, that way they it's like a nice limiter for them so they don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about them messing it up. All right, so back in our create Simon sequence, I'm gonna pull off of here. I'm gonna get the length of the stands, and as long as this is greater than 0, so basically we want to make sure that we have set the stands up correctly. Another thing that's nice for somebody else that they're working with us. That's for them to have to worry about. Then we also want to get the Simon sequence here. I'm going to pull off of this. I'm going to do a clear. Kind of forgot to put this in right here. Even in my prototype, should have done it, but I forgot. So we're going to clear the Simon sequence. I think I cleared it somewhere else. Probably. I would have had to have. All right. But we're going to do it here. I'm just going to go script. All right. We're going to do a branch here. And now we want to get our level settings, our current level. And we want to pull off of here, do a get, plug this in. And then we want to break this. Okay. And trying to read my notes, so I'm go fast, but I think it's slowing me down actually to read the notes. Okay. So let's kind of do this off the fly. I can check my notes if we do it wrong, right? All right. So one thing I want to do is I want to get the stands. I want to get their length. I'm going to copy this over here, paste it, and we're going to pull off of this and a random integer in range. I'm going to hold control to move that from the minimum and put it into the max. What we want to do is actually use this as a random note that we're generating. Now, depending on if we're going to be duplicating this, the notes or not, so if this is allowed to duplicate notes, then we want to grab our Simon sequence. We're going to pull out here, and we're going to say add. We're going to get to this first one, and we're going to plug this note in as the random note. Okay, then we're going to get a branch, and we're going to find out if the sequence, Simon sequence length, is less than our number of notes that we can play. I go a lot faster if I'm, or smoother, I'd say, if I don't go off of the notes. All right, so if this is still less than the number of notes, then we need to obviously add more notes to it. So I'm going to actually put in a delay here. We're going to set it for 0 seconds. So basically it just does it for 1 frame. It's going to come all the way back to this first branch here, and we're going to plug that in. Another thing you could do is just create a custom event to be called, like you could say custom event add another note. We can just plug that in, and then we can just delete these here and call add, can't see, add another note right there. That way it's just a little bit cleaner. Okay. Really feel like we should have done this as a function, because then we could have told it when to return. I feel like there's gonna be some bugs in this now, the more I'm thinking about this. But you guys let me know, and if you find any bugs, and we will make a video to fix it, or you can jump in the Discord. I mean, probably both actually. I'll probably make a video, but if you're one of the ones that finds a bug, jump in the Discord and I'll help you out. Okay, but what I'm foreseeing is we could accidentally exit this early, or because of the fact that we are not going to be, well, we're going to delay, but basically we need to, whenever we're creating the Simon sequence over here, this is over in our start level, we need to delay for a second, or we could just have it run another note if we wanted to. What we could do is do a branch here. If our Simon sequence, so I'm actually kind of bug fixing this already, our Simon sequence, and we get the length, I don't want the player sequence, sorry, and we get the current. So basically we'll be doing this check again. So I'm gonna grab our level settings and we will just say if this Simon sequence is less than our number of notes, then we will delay, or actually we'll delay for like 0.1 second and we'll force it back in here to not let it out of there. Or we could tell it to delete that. We could actually say create another, or what was it, another note something. Yeah, add another note. So you just plug that in just as a double check type thing. Like I'm bug fixing my own prototype without realizing that there were bugs. Kinda. All right, so yeah, we add another note if this isn't long enough. So I don't see how it would fail, but maybe it's just like a timing issue or something. I don't know. All right, so if they're not allowed to duplicate notes, then what we want to do, I'm actually going to copy all of this. We're going to leave the add out of it. So I'm going to copy that, paste, line this all back up. And we're going to pull off of our Simon sequence here. We're going to say add unique. Plug this into the bottom, plug this in up here, and then we can just jump up here and plug into that branch just to make that simple. I'm going to kind of move this out a little ways just so those lines are a little bit clearer. Okay, that should be that on creating the sequence. So I'm going to create random sequence based on level settings. Okay, and I'm gonna hit this bubble, show bubble when zoomed out so it's a lot easier to read. Let's go ahead and comment a little bit of this. So this will be on begin play L or set reference in stands. I'm going to say overlap event. We can actually do a start level. Then here we're going to, since we're starting the level, we're creating the sequence, we're making sure that that sequence is as long as it's supposed to be. Once it is long enough, so back out of the false here. Let me get in my notes, make sure that I'm doing this right. Then, yeah, we want to play the Simon. We want Simon to play its notes. So I'm going to add a delay here as well. And this one I'm going to do for about 2 seconds. I'm going to make a custom event. And this will be play Simon sequence. I spelled that wrong. I know it. Yeah. There it is. So this will be start new level. Every time we start a level, it'll run through this thing first, and then it'll come out of this, and we will play Simon sequence. Okay, and so down here in our play Simon sequence, we will get our current, what was it? Yeah, current note. That's what I thought. Their Simon sequence, do a get, plug this in. And so basically we want to find out what the current note is that needs to be played is, and we're going to iterate on that current note so that we play all of the notes in our list. The reason we're doing it like this instead of doing like a for loop or for each loop is because we need a delay, and you can't put delays inside of a for each loop. So what we're going to do then is we're going to grab our stands. We're going to pull off of here. We're going to do a get, and this will be the index of the stand that we want. And then we're going to pull off of here, say play note, and plug it in. Okay, then we obviously want to play more than one note, so we need to find out how long should we delay between this note and playing another note. So what we can do is we get our level settings, we can get our current level, do a get, plug this in, do a break, plug in our time between notes. I'm gonna hit hide unconnected here, line that back up, move that out of the way. Then whenever that gets done playing, we want to take our current note and we're going to pull off of here. We're going to do plus plus, which will give us an increment int. Basically what that does is adds 1 to our current note, and it goes ahead and sets it for us. So it's basically the same idea as if I did add 1 and then I took our current note and then set it. So this little guy is basically the same as all of that. Okay. Delete that, move that out of the way. We're going to do a branch here, and we are going to check if our current note is less than the length of our Simon sequence. So basically, did we play all of the notes in our Simon sequence? If we did, or if we did not, which would be what the true is on this one, then we just want to play Simon sequence again. So it'll pick another note, or it'll get the next note in the sequence, it'll play it, it'll delay, it'll add to the thing, and until it reaches the end of the sequence, it will keep repeating. Once it does reach the end of the sequence, then we want to let the player have their turn. So we're going to set is player's turn to true. And this is where we need to make sure in our stand that, see, we have this is player's turn thing set here. Well, what we want to do is we want to get our Simon main reference. This is in the event on interact inside the BP stand, if I'm going too fast. We're going to convert this to a validated get. We're going to plug it in here. We're going to delete the comment on that. I'm going to pull off of here and say is player's turn. And if it is the player's turn, then we can, we don't want to play the note, we want to send the note to the Simon. So I actually need to make a custom event back over in Simon really fast. So it's going to be custom event player played note. So that was hard to hear. Player played note. We need to pass in an index, or actually I'll just call this note to make it a little bit simpler. We need to pass in what note we need that the player is playing. We'll compile, save that, go back to stand. We're going to pull off of the Simon main reference here, or you can just do a get, pull off of here and say player played note. And then remember, it's asking for a note. Well, in our case, the index is our note. We'll plug that in, and that is actually the stand. Oh, no, oh, wait, not the stand done. Not yet. I'm going to quickly grab this little section here. We're going to copy. We're going to jump down to the look at here. Remember, we have this branch here as well that we were going to set up. So we're going to delete that. And we're going to paste this in between. So in between our event look at and where we're setting the overlay material. So now it'll only make that overlay material on top of it if it's the player's turn. Basically indicating to the player, it's your turn. Go ahead and play your note. All right. So now in our Simon, our player played note, we need to get that note and we need to get our player sequence and we need to add it to the player sequence. Okay. Then we're going to take that note and we're going to get our Simon sequence. We're going to do a get really fast. We want to, oh wait, wrong thing. We want to get the off of here, and what you'll notice is this is the index of the newly added item. And since we're only ever going to be adding these in order, this index will work perfectly fine. We're finding the index of the note that needs to be played in Simon. So Then we can check if this note is equal to this note, then we play the correct note. Reroute this around really fast. You can also hold R to get reroute notes, however you want to do it. So if that is equal to that, then we want to have a branch. And then, oh, right. We want to grab our stands. We're going to do a get on the stand. So basically, if that note was correct, we want to play that note on the stand. So we're going to say play note. Then we need to do a couple of checks. We want to grab our Simon sequence and our player sequence, and we want to get the length of both of these. So we can just copy paste that, plug it in, select, press Q to line those guys up a little bit. There we go. And if this is less than, or sorry, we'll just do equal to this, which I'm seeing a bug that could possibly pop up for that, which I'll quickly fix now that I'm thinking about that. But we'll fix that in a second. But basically, actually, whenever we play the note, we want to stop the player from being able to play again for at least a second, at least until all that stuff is checked. So what we're going to do is set the is player's turn for just a second. We're going to set that to false, basically so that they can't spam it. I think that'll stop some possible bug issues that I didn't see while I was testing, but I'm pretty sure would happen. So we'll do that really quick. All right, so if, where was I? If this is equal, or actually since we have that, and I'm gonna say greater than or equal, just to be on the safe side with this, in case the spam does happen somehow. But if that is equal, then what we can do is get our level settings. We can get the length, or actually the last index of this. We can get our current level, and we can see if the current level is less than the last index of our settings, then we can progress. So we can grab our current level, and again, we're going to do an increment here, so ++, and then we're going to start new, start level. My prototype, it's start new level, but all right. If not, then we're actually done. At that point, the player wins. So we're going to do a print string and say player wins. Check how long this has been so far. 30 minutes. We're going to keep pushing it through. It's probably going to be a 45-minute video. If you guys want, we will make a bonus video where we can show how to set this up to other things like a door or whatever. But for right now, that's all we're going to do. If you guys need it faster than that, you can jump to Discord, message me, and I will walk you through how to set that up. All right, so if the note was wrong, and so that's here, after the equal on all this stuff. If the note was wrong, then we want to grab all of the stands. We're going to hold F, do and left click to get a for each loop, plug that into our false here. And we're going to pull off of this and say play error, which we don't have that. I need to make that. All right, so never mind, we're not done with the stands. All right, we're going to quickly, I'm just going to grab the play note area here. We're just going to copy that, paste. I'm going to select where it says custom event here, hit F2, and we're going to do play error. And we just need to edit this a little bit. So there, we're going to grab our audio and we're going to say set sound. And I'm going to set this to my error cue or error sound, however you want to do it. Either way will work. And then we're going to play it. And then we're going to set our intensity so it lights up. We could even set the color really fast if you guys wanted to. Yeah, that's actually something we can do. We could grab our dynamic material here. We can pull off of here and say set vector parameter. And we will quickly set this to a red. Plug that in here. And then whenever we're done, we want to stop the audio. We're going to set that intensity back. Then we need to start setting all of this stuff back over again. So we want to grab our set vector parameter and we want to set it back to our regular color. So we'll grab our color here, plug that in. I just realized the parameter name on both of these was wrong. So parameter name, set it to to color, and same thing down here, set it to color. And then I also want to grab my audio, set sound, copy, go all the way to the end here, paste, and we're going to set that back to our sound that it's supposed to be. There we go. And that should be our play error all done. So I can pull off of this. This is back in the Simon thing at the for each loop after the we found out that the note was wrong. So we're going to pull off of this and we're going to say play error. And so it'll play an error note on all of the stands. All right. And then here is something up to you guys. If you want to have the player start over at basically level 0 again, so they have to start the whole puzzle over again, what you'd want to do is grab your current level, pull this out and set it to 0 and just plug it in right here. And then we would say start level. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to take that out. I'm just going to have them start the level that they're currently on over again. So we'll just leave it like that. However you guys want to do it. So now we got some setup that we need to do. So back in our viewport with the Simon BP selected, I'm going to go to the stands here. I'm going to hit the plus on this 4 times because we have 4 different stands. And I'm going to go from left to right and just hit every single one of those. Bothering me. There. And then for our level settings, now we're going to set up however many levels. I'm going to minimize that. However many levels we want. So if you want 1 level, then you'll just hit the plus once. Set up your settings. So I want like 3 notes, and I want the time between notes to be 1.75 seconds, and I don't want it to be able to duplicate because I want it to be nice and easy for the player. And then maybe I want a second level. On the second level, I want 4 notes. And here's something really quick, guys. If I hit 6, I try and change it, notice it jumped down to 4 because we only have 4 stands. Right, so if we actually added on more stands and we made sure to add it up here, then we could have more notes. So it's a very dynamic thing. You could have 100 stands if you wanted to. Totally up to you guys. But I'm going to do 4 notes here. And wait a second, I just noticed something. We should be able to right here. If can duplicate notes is true. So I did that wrong. Real quick, hit save. And then I'm going to go back into our Simon, to our construction script. And right here where I did the can duplicate notes and went through the false, we're going to have Alt and left click to unhook that, and we're going to put it through the true. So we only want to wait. And duplicate notes. Oh, no, I did that right. I'm just being weird. Sorry, guys. But yeah, we don't want it to be able to duplicate notes, but over here we do, so we want to be able to put like up to however many. So if I want 5 notes there, I can now do that because we can duplicate notes. I just kind of messed with myself. I'm going to set this down to 1.5 seconds. And that's all the levels I'm going to do. If you wanted more, you would just keep hitting plus and filling out your different levels. And real quick, I'll show you guys one more thing to kind of make that a little simpler. If you open up your Simon struct here, there's a default values area. So you could set up the default values here to be at least what you want for like your base levels. And it's already set to a certain extent at least. And then you save that, close it, and you should be good. Now, let's test this thing. Maybe make sure that these guys are set up. 0, 1, yeah, we should be good. All right, so I'm gonna hit play, turn around, step on this, and it's not gonna do anything because it's a jerk. All right, guys, so I made a whole bunch of small mistakes in there and I marked them all in red really fast so we can quickly go through all of them and fix them all really fast. But I did just test it and it is working as far as I can tell perfectly. That's for you guys to find if there's any other bugs, and I'll help you to fix them. I don't think there's any. I just tested it for a good while. But let's go ahead and jump into what all is wrong. Let's go ahead and start up here in our create random sequence based on level settings. So our create Simon sequence. One of the first things that's wrong is whenever we're looking for the stands, I went off of the length. I was probably thinking to do length -1, which is how I normally do things. I've just recently switched over to this last index stuff. But that's what we need to do. So this right here needs to be set to last index going into that random integer range. I'll delete that one. And then just below that, we have another one doing the same thing. Need to make sure that we're getting the last index and plugging that into our random integer range. Okay. Then we're going to come down here to our player played note. We're going to go to, I guess this would be the second branch right after the play note, and we are checking basically if all the notes have been played yet or not. And really what it was is both of these were in the wrong slot. It was set up basically like this before, right? And what it needs to be is if you hold control, you can plug these in. And it needs to be the Simon sequence on bottom, the player sequence on top. So we're checking to see if the player sequence is greater than or equal to the Simon sequence. So that's that fixed. And then right after that, if this is false, then we need to let it be the player's turn again. So we just set is player's turn to true. Okay. And we move down here. This isn't really a bug, but probably something very nice to have. A nice little delay to happen between the levels, so that as soon as they hit the last note on the last one, if it's correct, it doesn't just instantly play the very next note. So I put a 1 second delay. I probably even do like maybe 2 seconds to be honest with you, and that should be perfectly fine. Let me scroll out, make sure nothing else is red. Really quick, this is me in editing mode. I noticed a day later, I actually had a viewer come in and we were talking about like different issues he was having with the puzzle. A huge issue that we had whenever I was fixing all the different little red things is I forgot to tell you guys that over here in our start level area, after we create Simon sequence, everything after that, delete it. Okay. So basically this should be your new start level area. And then when we come over here, this will be the create Simon sequence event. We need to go to the end of this and the very last branch, basically where we're checking to see if the Simon sequence length is still less than our number of notes. With our level settings, we get the current level, we get a copy of it, and then we get the Simon number of notes. You guys, I think this should already be done in your version. We should have a branch here. If this is done, I think the only thing that you guys are missing, it should look like this probably for you guys, is this area that I have written as fix this. So all we're doing here, let me delete that part, is we're adding a delay, and then we are playing the Simon sequence. Really sorry about that, guys. I know I probably have to re-upload this video in order for YouTube to accept it, because I don't think you can override a video. I will be deleting the other video. So sorry. Back to me from yesterday when I was recording all of this. So yeah. One last thing that I did change is I set the first level to be 3 notes instead of 4. So if you see 3 notes and yours is playing 4, that's why. All right, so let's jump on here. We got purple, green, blue. Cool. Purple, green, blue. It should. Yep, there goes purple, purple, green, blue, purple. So see, this one allowed it to play purple more than once, whereas the first round, the first round didn't allow it. So this should now start back over on the second level. And I already forgot what the pattern was. Okay, we'll just let it go again. Hold on. Purple, yellow, blue, yellow, blue. Okay. So purple, yellow, blue, yellow, blue. And you see in the top left there, it says player wins. So yeah, there it is, guys. I know this is a very long video, and I'm sorry. Like, I didn't want to separate this last one into a whole bunch of different videos. If there is a bug fix video, I will link it in the description below. So if you're thinking, hey, there's something wrong, check the description, and if I've made a bug fix video, it will be linked down there. But with that said, guys, I am glad to be back making YouTube videos. Thank all of you for your well wishes and everything in the Discord, all you guys that pop in and hang out during my live streams. I've only had one so far, but we'll have more coming up soon. And thank you to all my patrons that have helped me. If you guys would like to help the channel grow, definitely check out my Patreon, or maybe even think about becoming a channel member. I don't really have any perks for either one really yet, so if there's anything you guys would like to see, just let me know, and sure, we'll add it in there. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.